Can we have the online presence of Mr. Alain Bentejac, President of the CCE? It should be online. Should be a couple of seconds.
Bonjour, je suis là.
Ah, génial. Merci Alain de nous rejoindre. Écoute, ça a été une journée formidable. Avant de te donner la parole, juste pour te donner un petit aperçu, nous avons dans la salle donc les participants de la journée en physique, présence physique, et nous avons bien sûr notre réseau qui a été informé de ta contribution pour venir conclure ce qui a été, je pense, un échange très riche. Tu as pu nous suivre. I just put it in English quickly. Thank you, Alan, to join us. Alan Bentejac, you remember we hosted for the 120th birthday of the CCE network, Don Abson, that came as a keynote speaker in Paris, and he came. It was the very first flight leaving the USA to land in France. That was yesterday morning, and I believe we will meet each other on Monday in Paris. So please, Alain, the floor is yours. Vas-y, à toi.
Okay, thank you very much. Should I speak English or French, or what is the...
If you could do English, that will save me the translation, because you are fluent English. Come on.
Okay. I do my best. Well, thank you very much, and hello to everybody. I'm glad to participate in this symposium and to say a few words at the end of this very interesting session. I'm delighted to be with you. Of course, not really in Forbach, unfortunately, but on a remote position, and for several reasons. The first reason being that it's a Franco-German symposium, so it's a Franco-German initiative, and I think this relation between France and Germany is of utmost importance in all aspects, politically, strategically, and of course economically, since we are foreign trade advisors. So what is really important for us is the trade, the economy, and we know that, of course, Germany, the French, is the first trade partner of France, and from a long time. And what is interesting, when you look at the last figures in terms of foreign trade, we see that it seems that maybe due to the pandemic and the fact that it's probably more difficult to travel in some countries, the French companies and French exporters are more and more interested by the German and the European markets, which is good in my view. And I would like to thank the foreign trade advisors of France who are working a lot on this Franco-German relations, and especially Henri Largouet, who has been very active and is still very active on that. Of course, there is no best location to talk about France and Germany than Forbach and this Lorraine region, which is really at the heart of Europe. And I would like to thank Jean-Claude M., the president of the Comité d'agglomération de Forbach, for his welcoming speech this morning. And also, of course, I'm very honored to have the presence of Mr. Alcázar, the commissaire, the member of the government from the Saar land. I'd like also to distinguish the role of the assembly, the parliamentary assembly from France and Germany, which is a very special and very unique organization with members of parliament from France and from Germany. And I think it's very important. I would like especially to thank Christophe Aran, which is the co-president of this joint assembly between France and Germany. And of course, for our network as French foreign trade advisors, this relation is very important, as I mentioned, and I would like to really thank our local committee, local group of CCEs in Lorraine, chaired by Bruno Roth, who is very active president and we all know that. for having organized this, taking this initiative of organizing this symposium, and also to thank my friend Armand Ruffin, which also member of our organization, and is vice president of the Franco-German Chamber of Commerce, and has been always very, very active for the promotion of the relations, the good relation between France and Germany. The other reason for being very glad to be here is that the main theme of this session, this day of symposium, is new technologies. And new technologies, of course, is very important, and from a foreign trade perspective, it's very important to try to understand what will be the impact of new technologies on our foreign trade relations. A few days ago, we had a very big event organized at a global level, what we call the Mondial. It's a global event for our organization. And we had 3 days of sessions, and one of the days of this were focused on that, the impact of the digital economy, on the impact of digitalization of the economy, the impact of digital economy on foreign trade, how to use, for example, the marketplaces, how to export at the digital time. So I think it was very important, and this reflection on the impact on digitalization on foreign trade is very important. That's the reason why I think, once again, my friend Gilbert for chairing this our special group that we have on that, and he's very active for many years on that. Thank you very much, Gilbert, for that. It's very important for our network. And I would like also to thank him for the action and all the actions he takes to try to convince the French companies, especially the French SMEs, and in the IT sector to export, to go abroad, to be more international. That's the reason why he spent a lot of time to organize very strong delegations every year to the CES in Las Vegas, and that's the reason why probably also he has developed a very good relationship with Don Hobson, who is the president and founder of the CES government, and I've been very glad to see him again sharing his views, his vision of the digitalization, and this recalls me 2 years ago when Don Hobson was participating in another big meeting we had in Paris, and his presentation was very much appreciated by all the participants. On the specific subject of artificial intelligence, I'm not an expert by far, but of course I am very interested by this matter as a citizen, as an entrepreneur, and I think that this subject poses a lot of question marks in every field: technology, of course, economic, social, environmental, moral, ethical. So I think, in my view, what is very important, to be very brief, is, and it was the subject of the last panel I have seen, and it's very important, is to have a European approach of these new developments. We see that in China and in the US, there is a very, very strong effort to be on the front line, to be a leader in artificial intelligence, and it's sometimes something dates back from a very long time. For example, we all know that the famous body called DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, has been founded in 1958, and we all know that this DARPA plays a very important role in artificial intelligence, in research and development of new projects. And a few days ago, President Biden has implemented a new plan, a $250 billion plan for developing the research in face of China, and a very important part of this plan is devoted to artificial intelligence. So I think that in face of these two giants, it's important for Europe to find its way. Of course, and that's also the reason why it was important to have some experts from the European Commission participating in this symposium. I think the European solution is not easy to define, because we have to develop this artificial intelligence, but we have also to keep in mind our values. Of course, many important values that we have in terms of protecting the liberties, the individual rights, privacy. We know that certain matters are very, very sensitive. For example, of course, the facial identification. But in my view, this must not prevent us to advance in this field. Try to find the right way, because otherwise there is a big risk of being very much delayed and very much being a spectator only of what is happening between China and the US. So, and also, I think it's important to try to understand the relation. It was one of the themes of the symposium between IA and the sustainability. And I think that it can work both ways. In fact, in some aspects, it's not very good. For example, when you look at when you think to the huge data centers that are necessary for the artificial intelligence, but on the other way, it can be very useful. For example, to improve the energy consumption, and so we have to, of course, really to try to understand all these aspects. And finally, maybe a final word. I think what is important to try to think and to reflect on this European solution to the artificial intelligence. I think it's very important to understand what is happening elsewhere, to what is happening, especially in the regions where there are some new developments. China, US, as mentioned, maybe also other countries. I think probably South Korea, Taiwan, Japan are also very important to understand, maybe Israel. And that's the reason why the French foreign trade advisors were precisely a network with people, businessmen, CEOs present in all these countries can be very, very useful to try to understand what is happening and to give some information to people who are in charge of making the decisions in Brussels, in Paris, or in Berlin. So thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very, very, very much for this very, very interesting and fruitful symposium.
Well, thank you so much. A round of applause to our president, Alain Bentojac. I just want to conclude before forwarding the speech and leaving the floor to Mr. Amar. The leadership you impulse in the network, Alain, that gives us the drive, and we worked all together here along with Armand, Bruno, Henri, Franck, Manon, Emmanuel, and obviously the team of Congressman Arend and Anthony. You gave us the leadership, and let me wish one thing, that thanks to today and the forthcoming work that we will be pushing together through this leadership of yours and the leadership that Europe could grab, build, leverage, and transcend beyond what is today the stage in order to achieve this balance with three overweighted powers: Europe first, maybe US second, and last but not least, China, that is kept at the right level of competition. Thank you for your vision, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your trust, and please let's give a round of applause to the Minister Amar Al-Kassar, SAR Commissioner for Innovation and Strategy. Thank you again, Alain.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alain, for the great talk, for the great presentation. And thanks a lot, Gilbert and Christophe, for organizing this incredible event. I think we saw today the necessity to have such an event, bringing all the people from the different, from France and from Germany together for a very important topic. Just a couple of months before the pandemic started, I've been with a delegation from the German Bundestag in China. And we had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people from the government, from the party, from companies, private and public companies. And I was really, really surprised because I've been in China a couple of years ago, 5 years before, and things were completely different with respect to artificial intelligence. 5 years ago, artificial intelligence was a technology among a lot of other technologies, nothing special in China. Last year, or 2019, just before the pandemic, things were completely different. The basic strategic technology for the government, for the party, for the companies, public and private, has been changed to artificial intelligence. And they have been putting this on every single topic which has to do with strategic issues that was around artificial intelligence. And I've asked myself, what was the reason why they changed in such short time frame their technological focus and their strategy on that issue. And if you go a little bit deeper, and you will find a lot of articles about that in the internet, is that it has to do that they realize the importance of artificial intelligence in at least one decisive moment. And I will start probably telling you my own experience before coming back to the Chinese experience. If you go 20 years ago, when we started autonomous driving, for example, as one part of the of artificial intelligence, we have seen 2004, 2005, there have been the Grand DARPA Challenge, challenging teams to build cars which are fully autonomous and drive without any driver or human interaction. And you know what? 2004, 2005, not one single team achieved to get a car built that run for 200 miles through the desert of Nevada and to reach the target. I think the best team succeeded to get something like 70 miles and then run the car into some to the side of the street. Nobody achieved it. And then 8 years later, 2012, when I get my first car with autonomous support, BMW, the car ran autonomously. So the only reason why I need to drive is because there is some governmental regulation which says the car is not allowed to drive it by its own for security reasons. Within 8 years, we had a tremendous increase in that kind of technology. At the beginning, the technology was not able to drive any car to a target, and 8 years later it was in the standard of a car you can buy at any place. And if you see, for example, another example, when I have been studying, there have been a big debate about whether it would be possible for a machine to beat a human being in chess. It was 1997. There was a big computer from IBM which pretended that they will be able to win any match against a human being. At that time, it was disputed. There have been a lot of people saying, yes, it's possible, not possible. And 10 years later, 2011, IBM built another computer. And at that time, it was absolutely clear the computer will beat any human being, and the race has been decided within 10 years. And the interesting point is now, if you go a little bit more into the future, that this advantage has been provided by computers who are fed with a lot of information, a lot of historic games, chess games, chess matches, so that the computer could learn from what human beings have been doing and have been providing, and how they have been gaming this game. A couple of years later, 2014, 15, 16, there have been another increase in what the machine was able to do. The important thing is, if you look at another game which is called Go, which is also a strategic game, and at that time a company which was called AlphaGo, it has been acquired by Google a couple of years later, they provided a solution that was able that a machine would learn from matches it has been playing against itself. So you don't need historic games to feed the machine, to learn from it. The machine was able to play this game against its an electronic counterpart, and to collect so many information and so many data that will be able, after a couple of hours, 4 or 5 hours, to win any match against a human being. And at that time, coming back to the Chinese, is that at that time the Chinese realized that a game they have been regarded as one of the strategic games for their elite could be just put aside by any computer in the future. And they showed them how much power this kind of technology, how much power artificial intelligence will have in the future. And that was something, and this is what you can read in the internet, is that for the Chinese it was something like a Sputnik moment. You know, the Sputnik moment for the US guys was something like 60 years ago, 70 years ago, when the Russians proved that they will be the first just building a satellite and putting it around the Earth. And that brought the US guys to build the program which led to the landing to the moon. You know, the famous sentence from John F. Kennedy. And that was pushed by this moment where they saw, okay, the Russians are probably a little bit faster than we are. And the same happened with the Chinese when they saw the power of this artificial intelligence. And that changed a lot. And the interesting thing is, and this is something I'm sometimes missing in Europe, is that they took a decision, they took a strategic decision to change the way they rate this kind of technology. And they put a lot of money in it, they put a lot of strategic focus on it, and today we will see that a lot of technologies which are really implemented with respect to artificial intelligence are done in China. So that means that it is no more a kind of, okay, let's see what's happening with artificial intelligence. We have a couple of companies, we have a couple of research institutions. They're working, they're good, they're fine, and then we will see in 10, 20 years what's happening. I think we are in a position that we really need to see that the big economies just around the world, China and the US, are putting a lot of focus on that. And if we try to do that in the way we have been doing it for decades, so every part of Europe is trying to do a little bit small kind of technology on its own, it's not going to work. And that's the reason why Germany and France have decided to put artificial intelligence as one of the very few points into the Aachener Treaty agreements, which are one of the basic agreement of the collaboration between Germany and France, putting on the point that the collaboration between France and Germany in the area of artificial intelligence is the foundation of artificial intelligence research and implementation in Europe. And most of the work on that technology is done in Europe, in France, and in Germany. And that's the reason why it is so important to have this collaboration and this meeting here around to get the to get all the stakeholders together so that we can put all the efforts together and be able to compete on a market which is growing, but also on a market which is not easy, because the competitors on that worldwide has big markets, have sometimes also different approaches towards data privacy. We know all that artificial intelligence, machine learning needs a lot of data, and if societies and economics try to make things easier by just allowing to get all the data, it's really difficult. I'll give you just one example also from China. When we had this delegation, we went through a lot of companies without anyone sitting and letting you in or asking for some kind of authorization. And the only thing they had a camera. So if you go through the camera just, and then it opens the door. So, and that was something which is very cool. And they tried to sell this as something which is really innovative. It is some kind of innovation, but if we ask people here around in Europe, do you want to have this? We will have a long discussion about, is it good, is it not good? And I think this is something we need to address also. So at the end, I think it is important for us to continue exactly on that path, bringing France and Germany together as the basis of Europe's future in that area. And this is something which is, I think, also important for the region here, is that even if we want to bring France and Germany together, we need some nucleus to do this. And I believe very strongly that the nucleus is exactly in this area. It is in Forbach, it is in Saarbrücken, because we have here a very high dense on expertise in artificial intelligence. We have in Nancy, INRIA, we have here the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence in Saarbrücken. We have the High Performance Computing Center in Luxembourg. So we have a lot of institutions just on that spot, and we need to utilize that. We need to bring the people together and help them take the right decision. And I'm pretty sure the benefit will be not only for France and Germany, the benefit would be not only for Europe. I think the benefit will be also worldwide, pushing a technology in a privacy-aware way, so that the people can benefit from artificial intelligence and at the same time maintaining their values and the values that we are looking for all the time. So far, thank you very much. Thank you for all your efforts, and I hope that will be not the last meeting of this kind, and we will see a lot of developments within the next years. Thank you, Christoph.
Thank you, Amar. Thank you, everybody. I will not be long, only a few words to thank especially my team, Anthony, Martin, Patricia, Gilles, Thomas, and Sophia. They really did a hard work, and it was not easy. It's not easy to speak German, then French, and then English. Thanks especially to Don for coming here, too. Don, you know. And that was, in fact, the last words I wanted to say, because in France it's a tradition that when the Minister Cédric O will speak to us now, nobody can speak after him. And I will let him conclude this day. I think it's not a last event, as Amar said it. I think it was the second, and we need a third, and then all Europe has to see that we are here in the great region between Germany, Saarland, Moselle, Belgium, Luxembourg, have not an idea of an economic Europe. Europe was built for economy by steel and coal, you know, for build freedom. But today, if we only concentrate on a Europe built for economy, it will cancel. Because Europe has to answer the daily questions of the citizens, of the inhabitants in our country. And so we have the responsibility as politicians to make this economic Europe getting a politic Europe in the noble sense of politic. In the sense of politic is people who want to work for their cities and for their citizens. Thank you, everybody, for listening me. And now the floor is to Cédric O, our minister. Thanks.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je voudrais commencer par remercier les conseillers au commerce extérieur de la France de l'organisation de ce symposium sur l'intelligence artificielle, notamment dans son acception de la coopération franco-allemande. Remercier également Christophe Arène, qui je crois a beaucoup œuvré pour que ce symposium se tienne et puis m'a fait l'honneur de me proposer d'intervenir. Le sujet est absolument essentiel, comme vous le savez, et nous tombons dans une période un peu particulière sur cette question de l'intelligence artificielle. La Commission européenne, à travers les voix des commissaires Margrethe Vestager et Thierry Breton, a présenté il y a quelques semaines le projet de règlement de l'Union européenne en matière de régulation des usages de l'intelligence artificielle. C'est une étape absolument importante et absolument essentielle dans les discussions qu'il y a au niveau international sur cette question de l'intelligence artificielle, sur cette question de la régulation de l'intelligence artificielle, avec la volonté très nette, très importante des Européens de tracer leur propre voie en matière d'équilibre entre innovation et régulation. Nous voyons la manière dont se développe l'intelligence artificielle ailleurs dans le monde, que ce soit aux États-Unis et en Chine, même si nous ne faisons pas un parallèle total entre les États-Unis et la Chine. Et nous pensons qu'il est absolument indispensable que l'Union européenne définisse ce qu'elle estime être acceptable comme environnement, comme encadrement réglementaire notamment, de développement de cette technologie qui apporte énormément d'opportunités, mais qui, notamment sur la question des biais, de diverses natures d'ailleurs, peut poser un certain nombre de problèmes. Il y a un autre élément sur lequel je veux absolument insister lorsqu'on parle de l'intelligence artificielle. On parle beaucoup, et c'est normal, c'est naturel, c'est indispensable, de régulation. On parle beaucoup d'encadrement, on parle beaucoup d'éviter les biais cognitifs, les biais de genre, les biais d'environnement social de l'intelligence artificielle, et on parle beaucoup des risques. Mais si nous voulons faire en sorte d'être parmi ceux qui décident sur le sujet de l'intelligence artificielle, si nous voulons faire en sorte de tirer profit des immenses bénéfices, par exemple en matière de santé de l'intelligence artificielle, alors la première nécessité, la première chose qu'il nous faut faire, c'est investir, c'est faire en sorte de faire émerger nos propres champions économiques de l'intelligence artificielle. J'étais il y a une semaine avec Eric Schmidt dans une conférence organisée par le média Politico. Eric Schmidt, c'est l'ancien patron de Google et c'est l'homme qui a été chargé par le Parlement américain de travailler sur la stratégie des années à venir des États-Unis en matière d'intelligence artificielle. Et la très grande peur d'Eric Schmidt, c'est le déclassement des États-Unis face à l'ampleur des investissements chinois. Mais si Eric Schmidt a peur que les États-Unis se fassent déclasser, alors que devons-nous penser, nous, en Europe, alors même que le montant de nos investissements en intelligence artificielle doit être un quart, peut-être un tiers de ceux des Américains. Si nous voulons être à la table de ceux qui décident et pas sur la table de ceux qui décident, alors nous devons faire en sorte d'investir plus et de mettre nos entreprises dans les conditions qui leur permettent d'être parmi les plus innovantes en matière d'intelligence artificielle. Sur ce sujet, l'Europe a fait un bout de chemin, la France a présenté sa propre stratégie, l'Allemagne aussi, la France aura l'occasion dans les mois qui viennent de présenter une deuxième phase de cette stratégie, mais la coopération franco-allemande est absolument essentielle puisque ce sont les deux locomotives industrielles de l'Europe et que nous avons besoin que nos deux pays disent qu'ils veulent être au rendez-vous de cette technologie, au rendez-vous en matière de régulation, évidemment, mais aussi en matière d'innovation. C'est pour cela que nous devons travailler encore plus ensemble, et c'est pour cela que l'ensemble des initiatives, à l'image du symposium d'aujourd'hui, sont absolument essentielles.